True Media, what's good with the family, man? I want to talk about the causes of porn and social media and what damages it can do to the brain. Somebody suggested me to touch on this topic a little bit more and go into depth a little bit more and give my thoughts about, porn and social media and these things that a lot of people suffers from. You got to understand, first off, those things is used as a coping mechanism. What I mean by that is, in life, when people go through things and they deal with things and they fall into a state of depression, certain people need things to help them cope with their problems. So you will have like a drug addict, they use drugs to help them cope with their situations and to help them get through their situations. It's kind of like numbing yourself to your problems. It's the same thing a lot of people that smoke weed, they do the same thing. Or you might be inebriated with alcohol. But it's all these vices is used to help you cope with your internal issues and whatever you're dealing with and you suffering from internally. So when we talk about social media and porn and how these things is at an all-time high and how a lot of people suffers from these things, people is using these things as a coping mechanism to help them get over their problems. So you got to understand, it might stem from the fact that somebody might be feeling lonely. Somebody might be feeling depressed. Somebody might be going through a breakup. And those things like porn, things like social media, it will cause them to overindulge and overintake because they trying to use that stuff to help them cope with the problems and the things that they facing in their life. You feel me? And the damages it can do to your brain is it can very well have you out of touch with reality. That's why a lot of people on social media, on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok, they live for validation. They live for the likes of others. You know what I mean? And it's fictitious. It's all fake. But it's a sense of dopamine. It gives them a certain kind of high. It gives them a certain kind of feeling of confidence. Even though it's not real, people indulge in those things because they suffering internally from insecurities or some kind of trauma or, things of that nature. So when we talk about why people indulge on things like social media and the damages it can do to you, well, it can have you in a false state of thinking, a false reality that don't even exist. It can have you thinking that you loved when you really not loved. It's just people on social media telling you what you need to know. Telling you what you want to hear and not what you need to know. It can have you out of touch with reality. You know what I mean? Social media can have you out of touch with the real world, and it's a lot of people that suffers from that right now. You feel me? And it can be it can be for various of different things. You know what I mean? But one of the main things is due to self-esteem issues. A lot of people in this day and age have low self-esteem issues when it comes to social media. You feel what I'm saying? So that's all they know. They put all their time and energy into social media because they suffer from low self-esteem issues. They suffer from having some kind of form of internal insecurities that gives them a lack of purpose and confidence. So, social media is very, very overused by a lot of people. And the damages that shit can do to your mind, it can be very detrimental in a few different ways, but it can just have you out of sync with reality, man. That's why sometimes, even if you do use Facebook or Instagram or TikTok, don't forget to go outside sometimes. Don't forget to take a walk through the park. Don't forget to go out and get some air. You feel what I'm saying? Because that shit will have you, scrolling all day. You feel what I'm saying? Like that rabbit hole goes deep, you know what I mean? And it stems from the fact that a lot of people may feel lonely, they feel depressed, they ain't got nobody to talk to, and they seek the validation and attention of other people online. So they overuse that stuff to try to make up for their low self-esteem issues. Number two, what I would say about the whole adult industry, and y'all know what I mean, the XxXrated content that we see. The reason why a lot of people don't understand how damaging that shit can be is because they have a spirit of lust that's controlling them. You feel me? Anytime you're dealing with something that's over sexualizing in a particular area or a certain situation, you dealing with a spirit. You dealing with a demonic spirit. You dealing with a Jezebel, not a Jezebel spirit, but a succubus spirit. And you don't even, sometimes you might not even know that you had this spirit on you. And if you ain't careful, if you have too much time on your hands, you're going to end up falling into a slump state and end up watching the wrong things. And let's keep it real. You know, a lot of people suffers from XXX adult content. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people out here who's indulging and partaking in that stuff, but it all stems from them having a dark spirit. You feel what I'm saying? That's overtaking their mind, their thoughts. And that shit can be very detrimental to your mind because it can give you a false reality of seeing somebody else, you know what I mean, in a state of, you know, being intimate with each other. And it could give you a false sense of you playing that out in your head. You feel me? And it could be very damaging to your brain in ways that you don't understand, because even when you stop watching that stuff, you will still be thinking about it in the back of your head. You feel what I'm saying? And that shit can be very, very dangerous to your thoughts. You know what I mean? And that can throw off the pattern in your life. That can have you, you know, draining your energy, have you with no energy. It can make you feel tired all the time. You feel what I'm saying? It's not because it's the content. It's because it's a spirit that's on you, that got a hold of you. You feel me? And if you ain't careful, you will end up never getting over that spirit of lust. You feel what I'm saying? And that shit is demonic. That shit is all demonic. And don't ever sit back and think that it's okay to just be indulging into XXX content. You know what I mean? And it's everywhere nowadays. It's everywhere. The world has literally turned into you know, one big lust pool, man. Like, you know, it's you can't dodge it nowadays. You just gotta kind of, like, when you see the shit, you gotta kind of keep scrolling or whatever you're doing. Don't let that shit, you know, take over your mind. Don't let that shit take over your time, because it's people all day long, they spend time just watching that shit. You know, and they be wondering why they ain't got no energy, why they drain, why they don't want to do nothing, they can't move. You dreaming of demons. You got demons chasing you in your dreams. You dreaming of, like, all kind of shit, man. You feel what I'm saying? And so that shit is demonic. That shit, because you suffering from a spirit of lust. It's a succubus spirit that's over your life, that's on your life. That's why you got to pray to God for strength, for protection. That's why you got to stay busy out here. Stay busy and stay putting your time and energy into the right shit that matters. That way it can keep your mind off of that shit. And I'm not saying, like, it's unnatural for you to want to be intimate with somebody else, because that's a part of our nature as humans. But what I'm telling you is, when you go indulging into that adult content and all that shit like that, that shit sucks your energy. It sucks you dry, your energy. You feel what I'm saying? And it's that spirit that's in you. It's that demon that's in you that's getting you to go back and watch more and more. Go back and watch more and more. You feel what I'm saying? And you can't give it up because it's a succubus spirit on you. And you got to pray to God for healing. You got to pray to God for strength. And in the same sense, in that same breath, you got to understand that you got to be focused on shit that matters in life. You got to turn your attention to something that keeps you from indulging in that kind of shit. Because if you got too much time on your hand and you just on your phone all day, you gonna see some shit. You know what I mean? You gonna see something, you know? And if you ain't caught up, you'll go down that rabbit hole and you'll wind up on one of them back sites and you know, that shit will completely drain your energy. That's why you got to be careful with dealing with certain people when you being intimate with certain people, because they'll pass the spirit of lust on to you, because you don't know that the person you was intimate with had you know, had an addiction from that shit. You feel me? And now you got an addiction from it because you done laid down with a person who's had an addiction for that shit for so many years. And now they done passed that addiction on to you and you don't even know it. And you wondering why you can't stop indulging in it and stop watching that shit, because at the end of the day, you sleeping with the wrong people who's entertained by that kind of shit. You know what I mean? And so that shit can be very damaging to your mind because it'll have you out of touch with reality, just like social media. All this shit goes hand to hand. You know, but the only thing about social media, it's a good and bad way to use social media. Like, you can use it for your business. You can use it, you know, to achieve certain things. You can use it to enlighten other people. You can use it to learn things, to learn different skills and shit like that. So it's a good and bad way to use social media. Or you can use it to be on bullshit and to be watching fights all day. You feel me? Low vibrational shit. But with that XXX shit, that adult content, it ain't no good or bad way to use that shit. That shit is only bad. You know what I mean? It ain't no good way to use that shit. You feel me? It ain't no benefits from watching that shit. The only benefit you gonna get from watching that shit is having these demons latch on to your ass. You feel me? And don't be sitting around here thinking and listening to all these fake ass woke people online telling you that you get a do-over in life, and once you die, you get you come back as somebody else and you get a chance to do it over. Man, that shit is a lie from the pits of hell, homie. Once you die, you gone. You ain't no coming back, homie. You gone. You know what I mean? And it's sad because we got a lot of these so-called woke people, these knowledgeable people, these so-called star seeds and these so-called chosen ones out here telling people that you gonna reincarnate and you got a chance to mess up and you gonna get a do-over. You ain't getting no do-overs, homie. I'm here to be the whistleblower. Stop listening to these people online who be telling y'all bullshit, man. You know what I mean? They lying to y'all, man. They stealing y'all money and they sneaking out the back door. They lying to y'all, homie. Real talk. Don't be thinking, sitting around talking about you can do all, you can fuck up as much as you want. And you gonna repeat the process and get reincarnated and come back as somebody else. No, you only got one life. Once this life is over, you gonna move to another dimension, whether it be a higher realm or a lower realm. You the one that decides that. That's why God gave us free will. So when you out here talking about you know, XXX rated content and shit like that, and what's the effects that it can have on your brain, dog, that shit can be damaging to your brain, homie. Because you pulling in all kind of spirits and all kind of demons and shit, and you inviting them into your life. You inviting them into your house. You feel me? And you don't even understand why you walk around drained all day and you really don't even want to do shit. You lackadaisical, you know what I mean? You don't want to read. You don't want to study. You ain't on your purpose. That shit can throw you off your purpose. It can throw you off your grind. And all kind of shit will start going wrong around you. That shit ain't normal to be watching two other adults get it in and shit like that, my boy. You feel me? You got to make sure, man, you stay focused out here and you stay focused on the things that matter and put your attention towards the things that's going to bring you fulfillment and that's going to bring you positive results. You feel me? And so don't think that, you know, you get a do-over in life, because I be hearing certain people say you going to reincarnate as somebody else until you get it right. And that shit is fake, man. That's what the devil wants your ass to think. He wants you to think you get another chance to come back here and get it right. Man, once you die, it's over with for you, homie. It's over with for you, sis. It ain't no coming back. We don't know not one person climbed up out the graveyard and told us how it was on the other side. You know why? Because it ain't no such thing as reincarnation and coming back. Once you gone, you out. You gone forever. It ain't no coming back. So you got to make sure you put yourself in the best position to align yourself with the spirit, to align yourself with the Most High and get yourself right with the Most High, dog. You know what I mean? Because you will be walking around here in a fictitious ass reality in a fake world. That's what social media and that XXX shit do to you. It'll have you out of touch with reality. You feel me? And you know, it can be very detrimental, dog. It ain't cool. You know what I mean? That shit ain't cool. And you know, if you ain't careful, you'll get sucked into that rabbit hole. You know what I mean? And it'll take you a while to find yourself again when it comes to having some kind of strength. Do you know how many people suffers from the addiction of social media? Some people live their entire life on Facebook. Some people live their entire life on Instagram. Some people live their entire life on motherfucking TikTok. You feel what I'm saying? That shit is addictive. Like, they can't get off that shit. You know what I mean? They don't even know what the motherfucking air smell like outside no more. They ain't took a walk in the park in 3-4 months. They ain't heard birds chirping in the trees. They ain't seen squirrels running up no damn trees. None of that. Cause they too busy hell-bent and focused on social media all day. And a lot of people is on social media and not being productive. It's not like they got businesses on this stuff or nothing like that, or they passing around information that can help other people, or they trying to learn something that can help them. A lot of people is on there for the wrong reasons. You dig what I'm saying? And they have an addiction to that shit. You know? They got to tell everything that goes on with them and, you know, they life and where they been and what they eating and what they driving and what they wearing and where they live, because they lack self-esteem. They lack the ability to understand that it's a whole different world outside of social media. You feel what I'm saying? And if you're not careful, you'll get sucked down that rabbit hole and you'll be in the house all day just scrolling, watching a bunch of bullshit. And so at the end of the day, it's the same thing with, you know, the adult content for everybody out there participating in that shit. You can be intimate with somebody and you're not even understanding that they suffer from having an addiction with that shit, and they'll pass that spirit right on to you. And now you got an addiction from that shit. And it take you years and years to climb up out of that pit. And you don't understand is the more you watch that shit, the more damaging it do to your brain. Because it had you out of touch with reality. It had you, it started making you think ways that that's abnormal. That's abnormal, you know. That spirit comes and stems from a state of perversion. A state of perversion. Now you out here trying to holler at every woman you see. Now you out here trying to holler at every man that you see. And as soon as you see him, you fantasizing about the bedroom and being intimate with him, and you don't even know him. And that's what that XxAdult content can do to you. It can have you in a state of perversion. You feel what I'm saying? It can have your mind in a state of perversion. It can cloud your vision. It can cloud your vision. And that shit is very low vibrational. And you wondering why you attracting all these low vibrational ass women. You wonder why you attracting all these low vibrational men out here. And you can't get it right. That's because of, you know, your spirit only gonna attract the energy you put out into the universe. So by you watching all that content, by you watching all that XxAdult content, you not understand that you putting out a certain energy in a universe that's gonna be that's gonna send you a reflection of who you is, and that's gonna send you people who has the same mindset and the same suffer from the same thoughts that you do. So that's why you praying to God for a good man, but you can't get no good man. That's why you praying to God for a good woman, but you can't never find a good woman. You always get a low vibrational woman. That's because your energy is telling the universe that you is low vibrational yourself. And when you watching all that, you know, XXX adult content, that shit is, it stems from a state of mind of perversion. You don't understand that. It puts you in a weak position, in a vulnerable position, because now your guards is down. You ain't got your guards up like you normally do, or like you normally would if you wasn't watching that shit. Now you just willing to sleep with anybody and accept anybody into your house, in your bed, into your life, because of you. It's a spirit that's living through you, that's trying to, that's suffering, that got you suffering from wanting to feel involved with somebody. You feel what I'm saying? And that kind of content will have you just sleeping around with anybody, because you want to live out that experience in real life. You want to take everything you seen in the motherfucking videos and you want to live it out in real life with another woman or with another man. And you don't even know the person you sleeping with probably got HIV. And so it can have you vulnerable. It can weaken your mind. It can weaken your body. It can weaken your spirit. And now you can't even hear God. You can't hear none of that. You got a gang of demons around you now. When you go to sleep at night, they sleeping in the bed with your ass. They right next to you, sleep, watching you. You feel what I'm saying? So that kind of content is not healthy for your mind. It's not healthy for your spirit. It's not healthy for your body. You feel what I'm saying? It's not healthy for you at all. And it'll throw you into a state of perversion. And everything you will be looking at, you will be trying to get at. To live out the scenes that you seen playing that video when you was watching that adult content. So clean yourself up, man. Pray to God for healing, strength, protection. You feel what I'm saying? Love, peace, happiness, and bliss. And you know, to get you out of that state of thinking. And it could take years. Some people never overcome it. But it could take years for most. But you got to learn how to put your attention towards other things that's going to take your focus and your mind off of shit like that. And I'm not saying time to time you ain't going to think about being intimate with somebody or something like that, because it's normal to be intimate with, you know, with your counterpart. You know what I mean? That's just a part of us as humans. That's a part of our nature. But it's not normal to be sitting around here all day long just thinking about sex, or thinking about, you know, what you gonna do when you see a certain woman, or what you gonna do when you see a certain man, and you out here trying to spread yourself thin to every man and woman you see. That's not normal. And it's that spirit that's in you that's causing you to weaken yourself and to think a certain kind of way and act a certain kind of way. And you don't understand that shit gonna come back, and this shit gonna bite you in the ass. It's gonna come back and it's gonna really mess up everything that you got going on. Because of you're horny. You can't control your hormones. Learn how to control your hormones. All this stuff stems from you coping. You trying to cope with internal issues. You trying to cope with being lonely. You trying to cope with childhood trauma. You trying to cope with not being intimate with somebody. You trying to cope with not being accepted. And so you go indulging into things like social media. You go indulging into things like XxAdult content, and you let that shit take over you, and you let that shit bring you a level of false fulfillment. And you don't understand that it's not really fulfilling you. It's just giving you a certain high for the moment, so you can make up for the issues and the problems that you're suffering from internally. And the cycle continues. The moment you feel down, you run straight to that shit. The moment you feel down, you run straight to that bottle of alcohol. The moment you feel down and depressed, you run straight to social media. The moment you feel down and depressed, you run straight to that weed. The moment you feel down and depressed, you run straight into that XxAdult content. Because you trying to cope with issues that you suffering from in life. And you don't got enough going on in your life. And you don't know God. And you don't understand that you got to build a relationship with the Most High. And you got to pray for strength. Everybody has a vice. Everybody suffers from something. Everybody has sins and the things that they indulge in, but you got to pray for strength. You know what I mean? You got to overcome it. You got to learn from it. You can't let that stuff overtake you. And so that's my message of the day. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for suggesting this video. Hope this helped, man. God bless y'all. I'll let y'all later. Peace out.